What's going on there, guys? I just want to do this video. Um Caesar from Funky Blues Garage asked a question, how'd you get into modeling? And Charlie Mack asked how you come up with your shop name. So I'm going to answer both of those questions with the one video. Um, got into modeling when I was, a kid, probably 6, 7 years old. My dad was he was off work at the time. He had got hurt when he worked for Matlack. He climbed up the side of one of the tankers and he fell and hurt his back really bad. And he was off work for a number of years, 5, 6 years, maybe even a little bit longer. He had to have 3 different back operations and but anyhow, during that time, he was building models, and a lot of them were the 1/32 scale semi trucks, the snap kits. And he did have, some other trucks as well, some 124, 125th scale, a couple of 143rd scale trucks, and a few cars. And, that definitely got my interest. And I built my first model around that time, too, I don't remember which one it was first. It was either the GMC General or the Chevy Bison, but I know I built both of those, as a kid, 7, 8 years old, whatever. I continued, building models, when I was, younger like that, occasionally my parents would get me, mostly the snap kits, there was a bunch of the 1/32 scale cars, I know I built several of those, and they did get me a couple of the 124, 125th scale, snap kits, there were cars. And then probably, I don't know, I'm just going to guess about 9 years old or so, I graduated and got a tube of glue in my hand, and I'm sure I made a one hell of a glue bomb out of it, which that's to be expected. We all did that. And I continued building models, regularly, as a kid. My mother got me into a modeling club. It was a mail order thing. Once a month, you got a new model kit in the mail. You never knew what it was going to be. It could be a car 1 month, a plane, a tank, a boat. You had no idea. I mean, it was neat. Give you, as a kid, you had something to look forward to. You're getting some mail. Ooh, what's in the box? What I get this month? It was neat. I would get model kits. Like for Christmas and birthday, and you got a good report card. Get a model kit, maybe two. Just depends. Stuff like that. And, I continued, building models, all the way up until, I was a teenager. I remember my dad took me to my first hobby shop when I was about 12, maybe 13 years old. I remember it was at the guy's house. It was in his garage. And later on, he did, get a storefront. He actually had a couple different locations. And sadly, that hobby shop closed the end of July, just this past year. It's kind of unfortunate, but that's unfortunate the way things happen. But yeah, I built models, up until my teenage years. I turned 16. Got my first set of wheels. Just doing typical things 16-year-olds do. And, I still occasionally would build, a model here and there. And then once I graduated high school, working full time, I got my first project car, I'm working on that. Plus, I had an old pickup truck, I was working on that, fixing it up as I drove it. And, I kind of got away from building models, but during that time, my stash was starting to grow. I mean, by that time, I did have, a couple in my stash, but it was starting to grow a little bit bigger. If I'd be out somewhere, I'd see something pretty cool, I'd pick it up. Because I had a couple Chevelles at that time, and, I'm going to, different swap meets, the Pittsburgh Parks-A-Rama and out to Carlisle, and, you run into, model kits there and, see stuff and, just, I'd buy that. My mid-20s, I had learned about eBay. My girlfriend, at the time, we didn't have a computer, but she did. Well, now she's my wife. She introduced me to eBay, and I was just blown away by the model kits that was on there. Stuff I've never even seen. So I had a field day there for quite a while, just buying everything that I seen that I liked. The mailman, UPS truck, FedEx, even DHL. Literally all of them were at the driveway at the same time, delivering packages to my house. And so much stuff I bought from eBay there. Started, getting a lot of old semi trucks, and there for a couple of years, that's all I did was build semi trucks. I had over 20 of them built. Tractors and trailers. Had a couple wreckers. A lot of them got destroyed, though, unfortunately. When I moved, I had them all packed up nicely, and somehow the box got thrown in a dumpster, and stuff got piled on top. They all got smashed. So that was kind of discouraging. And then, when I bought this house back in 2006, it was actually the first time I was able to have my own hobby room, because the upstairs here is it's wide open space. We don't use it. It's not wide open. There's rooms. It was actually an apartment at one time, but it's space that we did not use. We just use it for storage, and I'm going to get myself, a hobby room up here. And, I got everything set up and, started building a little bit, but just, my work schedule just wouldn't allow it. I had no time, and, kind of got a little discouraged, and actually thought about selling everything. I even went as far as, I found somebody that bought collections, and I went through and, made an inventory list of everything I had, talked with the guy a couple of times, and, he actually, made me realize, hey, you might not want to, be selling this stuff, if you're not financially strapped or don't need the space or anything, he's, really, is this what you want to do? And it made me think about it. And, my wife, talking to her, she was like, why are you selling this stuff? You don't need to, just, I was just discouraged because I just didn't have the time to do anything. So I decided to keep it, but I still didn't really have the time. And it wasn't until, a few years back, I was, just my work schedule. I work all different kinds of crazy hours, and, depending on when I start, either early Monday morning or late Sunday night, I get myself up early, and, so I can prepare myself for my sleep schedule. And, I would just be looking on the internet and on YouTube, and one day I stumbled upon somebody showing off some model cars, and I was, whoa, look at this. And, I started watching a little bit more, and, it was Atomic Dog 32, and then I, stumbled upon, Dr. Cranky, and the Chevy Cheeseburger, CP 101, and, I watched videos for well over a year, and it just got me more and more excited. And, I finally straightened some things up again, and, started building, and made it official. Did my first video, a couple years ago. And, I got the YouTube community to thank for, my interest getting back into, building models again. I still, my time is kind of limited, with the kids' activities and work and such. But, I still managed to get up here and, get a few things done. And my shop name, the Smokin' Joe 311, I've had the Smokin' Joe for years. Back, like right out of high school, I used to hang out. This guy had a garage. I used to go up there and, just hang out. There would be, a bunch of guys going up there, just hanging out, working on their cars, whatever. And I smoked. And, he just, hey, there's old Smokin' Joe. And, it just kind of stuck. And the 311, that came from when I used to run Demo Derby. Just looking for a number, and I have no idea where it come from, but I had a can of spray paint and sprayed it on the side of my car, and thought, I like that. Smokin' Joe 311. It just stuck, and it's been with me for a long time. I mean, it's, my email address, and, I figured, hey, why not just use it as my channel name. All right, guys. Couple questions answered. So, until next time, we'll talk to you later.